Good job. All right, now we're going to do some push-ups. Now, I'm only going to give you 10. You ready? Push-up position. Now, I love push-ups because they make you strong. And you guys should be doing these at home anyway. I say you should do about 100 every night because you're not doing nothing else except on the phone. All right, are you ready? Okay, ready? On my count. Shut up! Uh-oh. Problem. I'm a loud person. I come from Pasadena, California. That's the southern section. People are loud. Let's start again because I want you to sound off. Ready? Shut up!
One.
Hold it. Now that didn't sound loud enough for me. I got whole ears. So make me hear. Shut up!
One.
Oh, now it's just better. The worst thing they did was they got rid of the draft in the Army. They should have, all of you guys should be in the Army. Okay, therefore, then you understand what it's all about. Ready? Shut up!
Two.
All right. Shut up!
Three.
Well, hey, I see your booty up. I don't like high booties. That means that you did that in PE, and the PE teacher let you get away with it. Shut up!
Four.
From Detroit, Joe Lewis.
The very first memory that I have of Pasadena when I was about maybe 4 or 5 years old. And I lived right around the corner from the elementary school. And I can remember sitting with my dad. He had a car that was called a Graham car way back in the early, I guess it was the early 40s. And we lived on Palmetto Drive. And I was a young child. And I can remember living there. And then from there, I don't remember a whole lot more other than I lived across the street from a close friend of mine, Chester Bias, and the Bias family. And I can remember going to school for the first time around the corner of the Garfield Elementary School, where I was taken to school, and it was kind of a traumatic experience, going to kindergarten and sort of being away from the home for the first time. And I can remember enjoying becoming a member, of the elementary school that is there. Now the school today is no longer there. It has been demolished, and that's what I remember. Right on that line. You can run tall. Although he's running the same speed that all of a sudden he increased speed. And he didn't mean to do it, but he did it. And the reason he did that was because he covered more ground. When Usain Bolt runs 100, he runs what, 40 steps? Everybody else runs 44. And so you see what's happening, okay? And that's been developed. Okay, and this is, now when I got into organized sports, for the team, you have to take this physical that I talked about. And on the physical, they discovered that I had a heart murmur. All right, and they discovered that I had what we call scoliosis, the spine and stuff. So they were afraid that health-wise, I may not be able to hold up. So when football practice came, time to sign for football, they wouldn't allow me to play. All right, because I couldn't get the okay from the doctor. So that's why I couldn't play football, because I would have played because all my friends played. So, and I was fast. Speed is always something important. So I couldn't play that. Then football's over. They didn't play. They played about 8 games or something like that. Then basketball came. And I'm a good basketball player. You're real good. Couldn't play basketball because of the doctor would not okay me to play. Okay, well, the spring came around, and so one doctor thought that it would be possible for me to play. And so he gave me the okay. So they allowed me just to go out for track. And so that's how I got the okay to be on the track and field team.
The 220 are Bob Poynter of Pasadena, Gary Schaff of Barossa, Rudy Jackson of Richmond, Tom Pettit of King City, Bill Walters of Sweetwater, Ola Lee Murchison of Placer High School, and Fred DeWitt of Berkeley. It's a close race all the way, with Poynter pulling away from Jackson to win in a blanket finish. The time is a new state meet record of 21 seconds flat. Meet Bob Poynter of Pasadena, the 220 record breaker.
Raised by your dad, is that correct? Can you tell us what type of kid you were at home, school, and church? Can y'all hear?
No. Still can.
I never expected to have this kind of turnout. When this came up, I thought you would be here with me and our family. And yet I'm overwhelmed by the fact that so many of you showed up at this event. And I'd like to thank all of you. Plus, my church, the Emmanuel Baptist. See, I was born in Pasadena, California, my only child. And as a result of that, I had a mom and a dad who lived in Pasadena, California. And when I was raised as an only child, sometimes can be a very lonely time in our lives. But I was given a gift by God, the fact that I could run fast. So, God gives us all gifts. And sometimes it's what we do with those gifts. And so I've been blessed to be able to share, my experiences with the people that I've coached and I've taught. I have taught on every single level, age group, level, little kids, sometimes on the weekend. And I've also been in a situation where I've coached on the middle school. I've coached at the high school level, the community college level, and the college level, and everybody else. And I've been so glad as to what happened. Most of my career was at Soul Creek High School.
Coach, we're going to get to that. I don't want you to get ahead, okay? Okay, get ahead of me. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to give you a little bit, because we're going to get up to his coaching days. I have something really special for you. So just to move this along, as you can see that what I wanted the coach to talk about, because we used to look at the memorabilia board over there, we see pictures of Bobby Poynter coming across the finish line when he was in junior high school. In junior high school. So Coach, just like you mentored us, did you have a special coach in your life or someone who mentored you early in your junior high school life and high school life when you were growing up?
Well, as you most of you know history a little bit. Most people know about Jackie Robinson. Okay, a very friend of our family was the Robinson family, particularly Mac Robinson, who was the older brother. And as a result of that, it was always inspirational. Him as a 1936 silver medal winner in Berlin, Germany. And he was my hero at that particular time. Most people know about Jackie Robinson, but they don't know that Mac Robinson was equally a hero, and he received the silver medal at the Berlin Olympics at that particular time. So Pasadena has a lot of people that have been highlighted in history.
All right, thank you, Coach. Now, one of the things that I wanted to do during this time, because one of the things that growing up with Coach Poynter that has always bothered him, when you talk about speed, they only talk about 1968, which is Tommy Smith and John Carlos. But just like he was saying, most people know about Jackie Robinson. They pretty much don't know about Matt Robinson, who took second place behind Jesse Owens back in the day. So this is a time not only for us to give homage to Coach Poynter, but this also is going to give you who don't know this rich history of these great athletes that are in this place on today, here at Emmanuel today, to come and honor this great man. All right? Is that all right? So he already, I'm looking at my notes, he already talked about Mac Robinson, and he just told us a little bit about it. One thing I wanted to ask you, Coach, just from a historical point, when you were growing up in Pasadena, they had the sundown rule when you were growing up. And for you that don't know what the sundown rule was, by sundown, blacks had to be off the streets. So I just want him to share briefly how it was growing up in a city where by the time you probably didn't even have street lights in those days, but by the time that the sun was going down, people of your color needed to be inside. Can you comment on that just briefly?
Well, that isn't exactly a true statement.
Okay.
When we talk about sundown cities, most of those particular type of situations happen in the South, not in Pasadena. Pasadena had a different type of racial exclusion, where most of the African Americans lived on the west side, and it was red line. And we happen to live in the southern part of the city, so that's why we were able to go to Pasadena High. Most of the African Americans lived in the west side, and they went to John Muir High School, which was our rival at that particular time. So that is a misnomer.
That's a misnomer. Thank you for straightening that out, College, because I read that, so the history books need to be checked. And see, this is what I like about when it comes to history, what they put in the books versus what was whoever really lived it. So I like really talking to my elders so I can find out what really happened. So thank you for straightening that out, Coach Poynter. One time, Coach Poynter, I saw a picture, okay, of your father. And he was in the picture, and he was standing around with other civil rights leaders. So was your father part of the civil rights movement, or can you comment a little bit on that?
Well, my dad was a very quiet man, and he only had me as a child, him and my mom. Idella Poynter, and he was a great believer in the civil rights movement at that time. There's a picture somewhere where it shows him taking a picture at Friendship Baptist Church at this particular time. This is a church where my cousin Harold, who is in the audience, attends today, is one of the, I believe, one of the officers at that particular church. So the civil rights movement was going on in '68, and that also is, I think, one reason why the Eastside Union School District in San Jose was looking for African Americans because of what Tommy and Smith and John Carlos did in Mexico City at a particular time.
Okay, thank you. And Cousin Harold, can you stand up and let us see who you are? If you are here, can you stand up, sir? Let's give Cousin Harold a hand. All right. So, Coach, who was your coach when you were in junior high and high school?
Wow, I can hardly remember. You have to realize that I'm up in age now. It was called, my junior high school coach, I remember it vividly, a fellow by the name of Jack Booker. Okay, he was the coach. He taught me a lot. He was my coach at McKinley Junior High School at this particular time.
Okay. All right. Are you guys getting something out of this? All right. So, Coach, one time you told me that you wanted to go to the University you want to go to USC, because I know you were really proud of Bobby when he went, and you told me the story about you wanted to go there, but you didn't go. You ended up going to Pasadena JC. And then you, that year you went to Pasadena JC. You were the JC state champion in the 200. You lost the 100 meters to your good friend and a mentor of all of us, Coach Willie White, that used to be at Berkeley and at Berkeley High School. I think he ended up coaching at Berkeley College. And then all while you were at the JC, you also ran for the Los Angeles Striders, you said in your second year of your JC year. Can you comment on that?
Well, to kind of talk about my background, I came from a family where my mother worked as a maid her whole life, and that was how we survived. And my dad worked as a janitor at Cress's department store at the particular time. And so as a result of that sort of made me. What was the question again?
The question is, you went to your junior college instead of going to USC.
Well, in my family, there was no one that had ever gone to college. And I was not prepared to go to college because I didn't know what it took to get there, and I had no counseling. So I took the courses, but I took the wrong courses. So that's why, one reason why when it came time to enter in USC, couldn't go. So the USC coach advised me to spend a year at Pasadena City College, Pasadena Junior College at that time. So I spent a time with him in Pasadena Junior College, taking courses, getting good grades, but again, no counseling, and I never took it, so I could not enter USC. But I had a friend of mine who was from, I think, Detroit, and he was in a night class that we had, and he said, why not go to San Jose State? And I didn't even know where San Jose State was. All I knew was it was a college, and I could run there. So what I did, basically, was I decided to compete 1 year at Pasadena City College. In the second year, I decided to save my eligibility and run for a track club called the Los Angeles Striders, where I ran against outstanding runners from the local schools like USC and UCLA, and I got my experience. And that's what happened to me at this particular time.
Okay. So, Coach, after that, 1958, you go to San Jose State University. Coach Bonanno, you were the freshman coach there at the time. Is that correct? Okay. Now, was Ray already there when Coach got there, or they came in together? They came together, okay. So, real quickly, Coach, how was it having those two guys at San Jose State?
There was a radio program that was very famous in the United States called the Bob and Ray Show. And we had Bob and Ray.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that explains that one, the Bob and Ray Show. So, Ray Norton and you were number 1 and 2 in the world at that time in the 100 and 200. You guys were teammates, and you guys got a lot of accomplishments there. Now, here's a question that I wanted to straighten out. Is it true that San Jose State was the first American 4x1 100 relay team to use the overhand pass? And if that's true, yes or no, but I know that from what I read, I could be wrong, that your class, you guys were the first ones to ever use the overhand pass that we use to this day. And if that's true, what made you guys go to that pass?
Well, one thing that Bernardo didn't mention is that we had a very outstanding coach that was very innovative, and his name was Bud Winter. And he picked up a lot of techniques from the Europeans, like the Germans and stuff, and the way they passed at the time. So I learned, a lot about that pass, and that's what we did. We didn't run the relays all the time at that particular time. We only ran the relays in invitational meets and also meets that were international at the particular time. So we were one of the first. I'm not sure if we were the first or not.
Okay. Coach, how was it being on the team with Ray Norton? You guys were number 1 and 2 in the world, so I could just imagine those workouts were tremendous.
It's kind of strange. Ray and I were opponents, but we were also friends. And we competed every day against each other hard. And you know, a lot of times you hear a lot of talk about Speed City, and you see the statues and what Tommy and John had done in Mexico City, and Bert Bonanno was there, and so on. Most people don't realize when you look at Speed City, you look at San Jose State actually became a powerhouse only after being invited to the Penn Relays, because the news media was the AP or UPS, and as a result of that, they often didn't get coverage of what happened in the West. So when we were invited to the Penn Relays and we won, they actually thought it was an African-American college. And when we came back, that established San Jose as being the Speed City team. And that was what that was all about.
So can we hear it? Speed? Yeah. Come on, y'all. Speed? Yeah. Speed? Yeah. Speed? Yeah. Do you know the way to what? Speed? Yeah. By the way, when I was at San Jose City College, Coach Bonanno had us our uniforms, and on it said, "Do you know the way?" I always remember those purple and white uniforms that we wore, and I always noticed whenever San Jose, whether it was city or state, we show up, and in those days they used to bet on who was going to win, but nobody would bet against us. So if you didn't take San Jose, am I right, Millard? If you didn't take San Jose, if you took San Jose, you had to give the bet was all the other teams against us, right, Fred? And guess what? We always, 9 times out of 10, we're gonna win it. Is that right, Speed City? Yes, sir. All right. So, Coach, now, as a coach and teacher, you had to bail a lot of us out. Whatever situations we were in life, all right? And when I say bail out, I don't mean we were in jail and things like that. We weren't in jail, but we had life trauma besides being student athletes, amen? I'm not preaching right now, watch out. It's just natural for me to say amen, y'all. I just love Jesus, what can I say? But you helped us out. And I mean, a lot of us were talking about the things that you have done in our lives away from track and field. Can you tell a story, if there is one, where one of your coaches had to maybe bail you out of a situation in life? Can you think of anything?
As a youngster, you have a tendency to follow the wrong crowd sometimes. And one time, there was a place called Mosier's Bookstore. And at this bookstore, they had some books that were out in front, and I had a friend that wanted to take the books and stuff like that, and I went along with them. And as a result of this, they took us down the next morning to the jailhouse. And then I was there for about 2 hours and had to be bailed out by my coach as a result of that. That was a time when I learned, a lot of time, God teaches you who to hang around with and who not to. And that's what I learned from that, because, I was baptized in Pasadena at Friendship Baptist Church. And so my values kicked in. And so the owner of the store decided not to prosecute. But yet I was put on probation at the time for the school. So that was my life. So I've always taught youngsters, beware of who you hang with, because God is with you and God is watching you at this particular time. And this is what I learned, a lesson. And I always taught my kids, because I taught at Silver Creek for an eternity. And everybody wanted to know, did you ever have any problem with kids? And the answer was no, because I knew what they had to do to be successful. And guess what? They listened. So I feel real good about that. And the products are right here in this room, a lot of them.
That says speed. Yeah. Speed. Yeah. Coach Poynter is always telling me, guys, that he is very proud of all of us. So just on that statement, can you give yourself a hand? All right, moving along. So, Coach, you saw the beautiful Miss Gloria at a picnic. And at this point, I would like to call the Poynter children to come to the stage. And as they're coming, Coach, you saw Miss Gloria at a picnic, and you end up getting married in 1961, and was married for 63 years. Now that's got to be a hand clap right there. Sit next to your dad, please. You sit next to your father. So we're going to talk about Dad a little bit, all right? And we don't want to talk about Coach. We want to talk about Father, and we want to talk about husband, all right? And so we want to be brief because we want to move along, but Efron, tell me how it was not only having him, and then also too, I felt bad because you have a teacher as a father. So how was that growing up with a teacher?
Yeah, I would say it was fine growing up with my dad, being a teacher. He was always one to instill in us the values that he knew to be important, and wanted to make sure that we were kind of respecting that or doing the right thing, like he had said. So that was definitely something that was instilled in us. That part, while it wasn't an issue, I think it was difficult being I would say being a child of a preacher and maybe a track coach. Those type of professions, I think, can be really difficult because the parent is not always maybe as available as you would want them to be, although he was very available as he could be. But it was kind of like he was an extension of the community, an extension of us. So at times it felt like he's not just our parents, he's the parents of all the students in the PSU or at school or on the track team, those type of things. So you learn, I think after a while you accept it, and that's your dad, and that's the way it is, and that's how it was meant to be, and you try to support him.
Same question for me.
I mean, I second that. I mean, I had him as a teacher. He was my coach and he was my dad. And sometimes those lines crossed each other a lot. So being able to, be around my father, I didn't really know how special and important my father was, because I just really saw him as dad, and he was everybody's father and everybody's coach. So I just got used to that. I think being around him, you kind of just, you got used to all the people and all the extra brothers and sisters that I ended up being raised around. So being around him was just very special.
Okay, while you have the mic, what did you and your dad do for fun that you will always remember?
I mean, my life was track and We occasionally played basketball. Now, my father wasn't easy on us in basketball, so he was nasty with it. I mean, shoving me, he didn't care. I don't care, I'm not being easy on you or anything like that. So we had fun playing basketball. We had fun, just being able to, be his daughter and be his son, just, enjoy his company. So any vacations or anything we had was all surrounded by track. So that's what I know.
And regarding the basketball, it's kind of funny. Actually, my cousin James is here. So regarding the basketball, man, this guy had a jumper. Let me tell you, he couldn't. Back in the day, I mean, it took me a while to be able to beat him. So I remember one time we were doing our driveway battle. He'd always win. It was my dad and his friend versus me and James. And we finally put him down. It was time to go. And you know what? Never played us again. So we retired Pops.
What I want to know is, Pops is so calm, cool, collected, and reserved. And I know y'all wasn't perfect kids, because no one is perfect. But when y'all did something a little crazy, how did your parents handle that?
Well, I don't know if this is appropriate nowadays, but he could, he had the ability to take his belt off with one hand. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. And it was crazy, because I thought I was a pretty good kid, but...
Can you take it off with one hand?
Man, and he'd be telling you what he's doing, too. I think that was probably worse than the actual thing that was happening.
I mean, I was probably the one that gave him the most trouble. So those, like Jeffrey said, one hand belt, wake you up in the morning, you think you got away with it for the night? Oh, no. I'm gonna make sure you know that I know what you did. So yeah, that y'all see him as nice, calm, and collected type of gentleman, but at times when he was mad, he was mad. He was mad.
Adrian, keep the mic well. Last but not least question for you. In this moment in time, right now, this second, what would you like to say to your dad?
I know, Dad, a lot of the time you think I wasn't listening, but I'm listening, and I hear you, and I love you, and I appreciate you. I know one thing I learned, I don't think I knew how special or popular my father was until we went to the Olympic trials. When I was 17 years old, and in walks Wilma Rudolph. Everybody knows who Wilma Rudolph is, and I'm, no big deal to me. Everybody knows who he is, who she is, and he walks in and immediately sees my father. And the look on her face told me everything I need to know. She was like so happy to see him, and so happy to be able to relive those moments with him. And that moment, I knew how special my father was. So I love you, Daddy.
Dad, you are so humble. It just amazes me that all the great things that you did throughout our lives, it was always just matter of fact. That's just what you do. Do you know that just growing up, he never talked about himself. I grew up, you know how I found out about all the stuff he did? It's all his friends and athletes that he coached. We're going, people are always gonna, oh, are you like your dad? Or excited people that were about my dad's age come running up and they look at him and they're just, excited. Do you know what your dad did in high school? He broke all these records and he was just amazing. And I'm looking at him and looking at them like, I had no idea about this stuff. And it's just a testament to you that humility that you always give to this day, even this celebration. It was, just being honest, he kind of didn't want it in many ways just because he didn't want a lot of attention drawn to himself. But that's just how he is. That's just how you are. And I just really appreciate that and love that about you. And it just shows you what kind of person you are. And I'm just so blessed to have you as my father.
And if you are an athlete that was coached by Coach Poynter, can you please stand? If you were an athlete that was coached by Coach Poynter, can you please stand? Adrian, and no, sit down. Adrian, Efron, all of us want to thank you for lending us your father. Can you guys please stand? Okay, we're going to speed up because we don't want Coach to get tired on us. Just stay here, stay here. He's staying here. Yes, stay here with him. Stay here with him. Okay. So, Coach, I'm gonna speed up a little bit, and I'm gonna just let people know just a little history because we know you're getting tired, and we have other people that want to interact with you. But Coach Poynter, he spent 2 years in the Army, and he ran track for the Army. And one of the things that I thought was, and we're not going to talk about it because I want to speed up a little bit, is while he was in the Army, he ended up training himself. I want that to sink in there. And any athletes, track athletes know, it is very hard to train yourself without other athletes around you and stay as sharp and on the top as you did. But he was my coach, and when I went into the service, and I can understand why he kind of ended up coaching himself, because when you go into the military, it's usually no athletes in the military of your caliber if you're on a world-class level. So I ended up coaching myself, but what I was able to reach back on, I was able to reach back on the coaching that I got from Frank Slavy. And I was able to reach back on the coaching I got from Coach Poynter, some of the pointers I got from Bert Bonato, some of the drills I got from Coach Haas. All of that came back to my memory, and I ended up being the United States Navy champion 3 years in a row in the 100 and 2 years in a row in the 200. So I want to thank you. Now, I want to ask Beverly James and Millard Hampton to the stage. Let's give these two athletes. So as they come to the stage, Coach, you started teaching at Silver Creek in 1969. And I understand that they were looking for black teachers at that time. You can sit here, one sit on the other side, please. And it sounds like you taught almost everything there. You taught African history, you taught world history, you taught U.S. history, and you were over the BSU, and you started coaching at Silver Creek, and I saw a picture, Mike Jabot is here, when I saw Millard Hampton was in the blocks, and Coach was standing over, and I don't know who the distant athlete was that Mike Jabot was. Alex Aguilar. Okay, and Mike Jabot coached him. That's a famous picture that's still around. Matter of fact, my mom sent me that picture not too long ago. By the way, you guys, Coach Poynter knew everybody, mama and daddy. Trust and believe he would end up at your house if you were not acting right. All right? You could come home and he is sitting in the living room talking to your mama, and she's looking at you, well, I'm just gonna talk on my own, and she's looking at you real crazy when you walk in, because he done just came and just snitch everywhere. And I do mean everything. I was like, God, Coach, you didn't have to tell that, you know. But that's how much he cared about us. I don't know if they have teachers and coaches that do that now, but he kept us together as a family. He cared about us, not only as athletes, but how we were going to make it through life. So, Millard, were you part of the first BSU that he put together? Okay. Can you tell us how that came about?
Well, the first BSU started in a history class, and we had Black History at Silver Creek High School. And one of the things that's unique and wonderful about what happened was Black history had not been taught in high schools before. And Eastside Union High School District said that in the Eastside we need to have a Black history schools taught in the schools. So Coach Poynter is given the responsibility of coaching Black history. And the unique thing about what the synergy that's happening, the energy in this room that's happening, you have to understand. Coach Poynter is a major part of history. And it's like a tree that has these branches that branch out into different arenas and different areas. Well, I'm gonna go off script just for a second. One arena is the Diamond League. At the time when he was running, they started, athletes were running in Europe. There was no Diamond League, no international track. It was just the Olympics, and it took place at a very low level back in the 50s. Some enormous changes came about with Coach Poynter and Ray Norton, and that is that they were traveling in Europe and starting out seeing USA athletes appearing and running in various races, as well as some other athletes. And from that, it became a springboard for athletes in the future, such as myself, Andre Phillips, and the Diamond League that you see today. And it's the personal sacrifice of a lot of people to make that happen. And Coach Poynter was a major part of that taking place. And out of that branch of Black history. When Black history was being taught, there were no materials. You couldn't go to the library and get books and materials. There was not much written on Black history. So he was given us a task to teach a course where guess what he had to do? He had to come up with the materials. He had to do the research, he had to do the study, and everything just to put out a course on Black history. And I can tell you, Coach Poynter did an A+ excellent job. I can speak for volumes and all the things that I learned in that Black history class, and it was enormous, just to learn about oneself and one's people. And it was a moving moment for, I think, all of us here who went to Silver Creek who attended that class, would probably all attest.
Well, I want you to know, because of Coach Poynter, I majored at San Jose State in Black history, Black studies, and minored in sociology. I didn't know what I wanted to study. And of course, Coach sat me down, and because of my personality and everything, I just fell in love with it. And so it not only helped me out as a person, it helped me grow, it grew my self-esteem, but it definitely helps me in my pastorship. So Coach Poynter, thank you. Now, we have some history over here. Now, no, it's not slighting Millard Hampton at all. But the first superstar that I knew about was this lady right here, Beverly James. Come on, let's give her a hand. Anybody around here knows something about some Beverly James? Now, what's unique, and I'm gonna let her tell, because I think you were one of the first Title IX, am I right? So you can explain what that was about, and also you were his first female athlete, you were his first champion with Millard, but the first female, all right? I want to present to some and introduce to others Miss Beverly James.
Yes, I was a junior in high school when Title IX was signed. And if any of you do not know what USC code Title IX is, it gave equal billing for women to run sports. So at that time, when I was a freshman and sophomore in high school, we ran Girls Athletic Association. Coach Jabot over there was my coach. And so the only thing we could do was run district meets. We had to sell stuff to make our uniforms and do different things because the women weren't recognized as the men were. My junior year, Title IX was signed, and so then now I shifted because I could outrun the girls, so I ended up with Coach Poynter. And so then I started training with Mill, Andre, Fred, and anybody else who was here out there on the track. I was scared to death. I'm now running with the boys. I was the only girl out there training with them. So what Mr. Poynter used to do, Coach Poynter used to do to me was, he had me running with Mill. Seriously, he's an Olympian. And I'm out there, and the guys would take off running, and Andre used to say, she's faster than us. No. I'm trying to keep up. So he used to put us, Mill and I, on the line at the start of the 400. And we had to run a lap around, plus a 110 and a little bit. And so he would start me out, and I would start running, and I'd hit the 200, and then Mill would start. And I'd be running, and I'm looking out the corner of my eye, and anybody who's ever run the quarter, you have to be real careful about how fast you go, because that bear gonna jump on your back on that last 300 if you're going too fast. So I'm running, and I'm looking, and Mill's coming, and I'm looking. I get back to the start. Coach, better not let him catch you. I'm like, just running. Mill goes right past me. So we was running, and I told him, I said, if you don't stop catching me, I'm gonna end up running a killadilla at the end of practice. Okay, so, but what I learned from that was, it made me run faster because it was my goal not to let him catch me. And then he was faster than everybody else out there, so it was helping him run faster, to catch me. But the one thing that Title IX did was it opened doors. So for the first time in the history for women, for the Central Coast section, women were able to run at the Central Coast track meet. And I ended up running the 100. And I lost in the semis. I took second. And then Coach told me, he said, just remember your training. So I ended up winning the very, very first Central Coast section 100-yard dash that women ever ran. So that was my and everything that he taught me in running, you learn to dig deep. I mean, I used to think my legs were rubber bands and I had weights on my arms that I didn't think that I could even run. And he would just tell me, get back on that line and run. And so the one thing that you did learn was he timed you. So the very first time you run something, he was timing you, then he expected you to run that every single time. So if you were smart, you kind of slowed down the first couple of runs and then got better as you went along, so it made it look like you was improving. But it was that resilience and perseverance and everything that I learned that I took with me, carried with me. Every time I get on a track, I relive Silver Creek. And if a lot of you don't know, Silver Creek track was a dirt track. We had to wear long spikes, and it was running on a rubber track, what was that? We ran on the dirt. And so every time I do something, I ended up going into the military, and I ran in a track meet in the Keesler Air Force Base in Mississippi, and I finally broke 11 flat. I ran a 10.98 in the 100-yard dash for the first time. And the first person I wanted to tell was Coach. Coach, I broke 10. But he wanted me to run on a top level, and my mom would not let me run. And Coach came over to the house, and he remembered earlier when I talked to him. Him and my mom went round and round in that kitchen, and my mom would not budge to let me run. But instead of running track, I ended up in the Air Force and retired from the Air Force, so it was still a good thing that I did. But everything he taught me, I still do today. All the perseverance, when I get down, I get back up, get back on that line, keep moving, dig deep. Those are the things that he taught me, and I always will be grateful for him.
Now, Millard, you had coached pretty much your whole career, except for when you went to UCLA, right? But tell us about, I'll let you tell your own story, how Coach had to drag you guys out to the track when you first started running track at Silver Creek. How you got all of you guys out there?
Well, the way we came out there, when Coach Poynter started Silver Creek had been open for 6 months. It was the second semester when Coach Poynter came on the scene. And so, we started talking around campus, that he was going to coach track, and we were all, interested. And we went out for the team. What happened was, as soon as we started getting coached by him, the first practice, he says, okay, we're just going to do 10 jumping jacks. We start doing jumping jacks, and after we do about 5 jumping jacks, he says 1. And then another 5 or 10 jumping jacks, he says 2. And so then we're like, Coach, this isn't fair. And he says, life ain't fair, but you got to persevere, so you do my 10 jumping jacks on my account. So we would do those 40, 50 jumping jacks, and that would be that. Then he would say, let's do high knees. Then we'd do high knees. And we would get our knees up, and we weren't used to doing high knees. Next morning, I'm waking up, I'm walking like this, and everybody in the track team walking like this. Because our tendons were so sore. And then we started doing well. And we were doing well in the Mount Hamilton League. And we told Coach that, hey, we're great. We're up there on top of Mount Hamilton League. He said, what? Killadilla. And so you got to do a killadilla. And to those who know what a killadilla is, he's blowing the whistle, you got to run and jog. And then he had this thing. He would do this. When it was time for a killadilla, he would say, be careful. Did you see him doing this? Yeah. Still his hair? That was time for a killadilla. So we did our killadillas, and then we went to our first. We went to a track meet. He said that he was going to get us in a track meet, and he said, you guys need to get baptized, and you're going to get baptized in fire. And we're like, what are you talking about, Coach? We're Mount Hamilton League. We're great. What he does is he gets his team that won the state meet last year from Castleman High School. We're out there at San Jose City College. The bus pulls up with the Castleman athletes. We see these guys get out of the bus. They're all, we're afros, bell bottoms, everything else. These guys are all bald-headed, and they get out the bus marching like an army. So all of a sudden the relay team looked at each other and said, I think I gotta use the restroom. And so what happened was, and I'll just talk about one race, I'll give the mic back. 4x1 relay, we're in the blocks, they're in the blocks. On your mark, get set, go, boom. Our first leg goes off. We're about maybe 40, 50 yards behind after the first pass is passed off. And then the baton goes to Daryl Craven. Rest in peace, Daryl, great guy. So he's doing what he can to try to make up on Castlemont to get us back into the race. It goes to the third leg, and all of a sudden Daryl's doing this. And he's looking around, and we're like, what's going on? Third leg wasn't there. And so that was the end of the race. And so we were wondering, where did our third leg go? We had to go find him. He was hiding behind the bleachers. And he said, I'm scared. That was our baptism by Coach.
We actually have a Castlemont night in here. Can you stand up, Coach Slayton? And wave to represent Oakland Castlemont Knights. And when he was in high school, his team was one of the best in the country. All right? Now, what I would like to happen here so we can speed everything a little bit faster here. Can we have, if you were, one thing I want to say, and I haven't checked before, but people don't realize a piece of history of Silver Creek. Silver Creek High School was one of 5 schools in the entire nation that has 2 gold medal winners. That's Millard Hampton and Andre Phillips. You don't usually get 2 gold medal winners coming out of the same high school. So that's how famous was Speed? Yeah. USA. Okay, so I would like at this point, if you were a student and you were taught or coached by Coach Poynter, please come to the stage quickly. If you were a student and you were coached or taught by Bobby Poynter at Silver Creek High School, please come to the stage. And as they're coming to the stage, I want to introduce this young man here who's taking pictures. This is attorney Thomas Broom, and he actually was a teammate of Bobby Poynter's at San Jose State. Can we give Coach Thomas Broom, attorney Thomas Broom, a round of applause?
No way, the caterer too? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
Round of, these are all the students. Andre, I want to start with you. What was it like being coached by that man?
Well, can you hear me? So for me, I was a student first. I met him when I was 14, freshman at Silver Creek High School, and it was the first black teacher that I've ever had in my life up to that point. And so as he coached Black History, he will ask 2 questions. One, what have you done with your life? And the second question is, what are you gonna do with your life now? And so, you know, and he would teach us under that auspices. He would ask, like, what are you going to do with your life? And so it was amazing to me that later on that year I found out he was the track coach as well, or one of the sprint coach. As Fred and I were coached by Stan Dow for those 4 years, and then when we went to City College in the fall, Poynter would have us for a little bit of the time, and then he turned us over to Coach Haas back there. Coach Haas, raise your hand right there. So he was our coach, but Poynter would have us at Hellier Park. Oh, and yeah, you guys know Hellier Park. So, but it was amazing to have him as a teacher and as a coach. And the other thing was he was the BSU advisor. And on weekends, sometimes he would open up the gym to have us come play basketball to keep us off the streets. So it was just amazing. Fred.
Hey, I'm going to be kind of quick here, but sometimes as coaches and teachers, we and sons and daughters, we don't know, if the parent think we're listening to them. 6 degrees of separation. Coach Poynter went from Pasadena High School to a junior college because he didn't feel like he was ready to go on to a 4-year school. Talent-wise, he was. I went to San Jose City College from Silver Creek High School because I was not ready to go on to a 4-year school. I had the talent, okay? He ends up going, after junior college, wanted to go to USC. I was gonna be a UCLA guy. And I took my visit and my dreams was crushed. Not because I wasn't good enough, because I had a dream and my dream was crushed there. So fast forward, there's a man in this room named Bart Williams, okay? We're running the Bruce Jenner Classic, which Coach Benali used to put on at San Jose City College, one of the best meets in the world. We have a great 4x4 team. Andre's on that team, I'm on that team, we're good, okay? I'm running anchor. I'm flying down the backstretch, man. The crowd's going, woo! Yeah, I'm doing this thing. And also we get to up top the 200-meter mark, and this dude with braids and these long fingernails come flying by me. And I was about 15, 20 meters out in front when I got the stick. think he ran 44.6 to run me down and went by me. JD had gone to Cal Poly SLO. As Coach Poynter did not know where San Jose State was, I'm in San Jose. San Luis Obispo is what, 2.5 hour drive from us? I had no clue where that place was at. Someone said, hey, you gotta go to Cal Poly. I said, what is that? Went to Cal Poly, and so 6 degrees of separation, and I'm gonna move this thing on really quickly here, is this. I have 3 of the 4 men in this room that influenced my life in high school and junior college, with Coach Bonanno right here, Coach Bobby Poynter right here, Stephen Haas out here, and I still know where he lives. I won't give your address out, Coach, but I still know where you live. Okay? But my point is that it's amazing what you can do. Now, I've been now 45 years into coaching because of people like this. And Monday, I'm retiring now. Monday is my actual official retirement date from coaching at the University of Arizona.
All right, I want to thank all of you guys for coming up because we wanted to get a good picture up. Thank you for coming up, and all of you guys can take your seats.
Do you know the way to San Jose? That is what Miss Dion used to say. The year was 1968. Do you remember when Dr. King was slain? Do you remember Project for the Human Right? It was peace. That was the natural fight. It was more than running track. Don't be stabbing a brother in the back. No, Speed City. Speed City. Do you know the way? Speed City. Speed City. It could be today. Do you know the price they had to pay? That is what showing the truth that way. It wasn't just Tommy, Lee, and John. Dr. Harry lit that fire they were standing on. Do you remember getting in the starting blocks? So tired of the can't find apartment talks. And so Marcos Listos go. Move straight, no going slow, no. Relaxing that breathing and moving so swiftly. You know when it is time to stand up for something and being so peaceful, but telling the truth because you can't move in backwards. We need to sprint forward. That's the only way to change the world that don't wanna be changing, but change must come. Speed City. Speed City. Do you know the way? Speed City. Speed City. It could be today. Do you know 1959? Sprinters Ray and Bobby made the sprint world shine. So they couldn't find a place to live, but good brothers had a bed that they could give. Do you remember hating that killer dealer? Relax and win another photo finish thriller. But now cars are parked on Bud Winter Field. Speed City's legacy is fulfilled. No, Speed City. Speed City. Do you know the way?